You've probably seen two highly logical, competent adults suddenly lose all rational thought during a relationship conflict. Their posture stiffens, their voices change, and they transform into entirely different people. Standard advice tells couples in this state to use I statements or active listening, but those cognitive tools require an active prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the brain region responsible for logic and perspective taking. During a harsh argument, that area goes offline, and the body defaults to a biological threat response. We are wired for what researchers call affective dependency. Affective dependency is a biological imperative, a hardwired system designed to keep us close to a few select people for emotional regulation and survival. Needing a partner is an evolutionary design feature, not a psychological flaw. How we express that need depends on our attachment style. Your attachment style is simply a localized nervous system template, entirely written by the relational environment you experienced in early childhood. What we call a communication breakdown is actually a physiological event. To resolve the conflict, you have to treat the nervous system's perception of danger before you can fix the words being said. Take the anxious attachment style, which we call the seeker. The seeker's nervous system was calibrated in an early environment where connection was available but inconsistent. It was warm one day and completely withdrawn the next. Because of that unpredictability, the seeker's default response to any perceived relational threat is immediate sympathetic arousal. Sympathetic arousal is the nervous system's mobilization state, commonly known as the fight or flight response. Directed at a partner, this state produces hyperactivated behaviors. The seeker relentlessly checks their phone, replays interactions in their mind, and escalates contact attempts to force an immediate response. This is not a conscious manipulation tactic. The seeker's nervous system learned a long time ago that amplifying the signal, making their need impossible to ignore, was the only way to guarantee a caregiver would return. On the other side is the avoidant attachment style, or the bunker. The bunker grew up in an environment where expressing emotional need was either dangerous, met with dismissal, or totally ineffective. Their default response to a relational threat is dorsal vagal shutdown. Dorsal vagal shutdown is a biological state of extreme energy conservation and emotional withdrawal. The bunker physically pulls away and strictly intellectualizes the conflict. Turning down the signal for connection does not eliminate the human biological requirement for it. The bunker's need is fully intact, trapped beneath a heavy layer of behavioral suppression. This image shows a medical monitor displaying active EKG waves. When hooked up to an avoidant individual during a relationship conflict, the data reveals that they experience the exact same peak physiological panic, elevated heart rate, and skin conductance as their anxious partner. They don't react because of interoceptive suppression. Interoceptive suppression occurs when the dorsal vagal system actively mutes the body's internal physical sensations. The bunker's conscious mind genuinely cannot feel the panic radiating through their own body. That cold, distant exterior is a highly sophisticated nervous system management structure designed to contain massive emotional overwhelm. It is a strategy of concealment, not a lack of feeling. These two types constantly pair up. To the seeker, the bunker's pattern of intermittent warmth and sudden withdrawal perfectly mirrors their childhood template. Their nervous system recognizes the unpredictability and reads that familiarity as safety. When they clash, it follows a specific sequence. Stage 1 is the trigger, a minor perceived shift in availability. A delayed text message or a distracted glance registers in the seeker's body as an immediate threat. This moves them into stage 2, the escalation. The seeker's sympathetic system fires up, deploying intense, escalating protest behaviors to force proximity and reestablish the bond. In stage 3, the lock, pursuit crosses the bunker's threshold. The bunker drops into dorsal withdrawal, which the seeker reads as abandonment. The system hits biological gridlock. Pursuit pushes the bunker away. Retreat pulls the seeker forward, confirming each other's deepest fears. Once locked, cognitive empathy and verbal resolution are physically impossible. Both prefrontal cortices are fully offline, and neither person has access to a secure, regulated state. You need an intervention that targets the underlying physiological state rather than the behavioral output. This is the function of the sanctuary sequence. The sequence requires specific opposing directional adjustments. You have to bring the seeker down from their high-alert sympathetic activation while simultaneously bringing the bunker up from their deep dorsal shutdown. Establishing that regulated baseline is a mandatory prerequisite. It is the only way to bring the social engagement system back online. The social engagement system is the biological network that allows humans to read facial cues safely, co-regulate, and achieve genuine intimacy. Attachment styles are historical survival costumes. Your nervous system put them on to survive the past, and they will only come off when you actively establish